You are listening to The Exceptional Conservative Network. For more information, go to www.TheExceptionalConservativeshow.com.
I'm just asking, ladies and gentlemen, for a modicum of common sense here. A white man tells you that I had to go into blackface to be Michael Jackson, when Michael Jackson didn't even want to be in blackface himself. Okay? Michael Jackson died an old white woman. I just want to... Did you see the transition? Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Exceptional Conservative Show, live from the nation's capital. We're not ashamed of the good news of conservatism, for it is the power of liberation, first to the Republicans and then the Socialists. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm your host, Exceptional One. Mrs. Biggs is watching. Thank you so much. Smooches to you. Mary Brockman, my bouncer-in-chief, is in the chat room. If you diss her, you diss me, you will be dismissed from the program. Ladies and gentlemen, we're so sorry that Bishop Leon Benjamin couldn't be with us tonight. We'll figure out a way to get him on the program. But we've been talking about white liberals. And white liberals are the poster children for color blindness when it comes to racism. They can't seem to identify a racist. And neither can black people. We learned in the last segment, ladies and gentlemen, that 9 out of 10 people that were black voted for the man on the left. Your left, my right, however way you would say it. The one who was in either blackface, he doesn't tell you which one. I'm not going to tell you which one I am. Governor North, I'm not going to tell you which one I am. I'm not the blackface one. I'm not the hoodie, but I'm one of them. I'm not one or the other, but I'm one of them. And just you figure it out for yourselves. If you do, you get 1,600 on the SAT or something like that. While those white liberal, progressive, socialist, Marxists, communists who want to identify for you the W.E.B. Du Bois colorblindness, per se, of what communism, what racism is, wants to tell you that the guy wearing the Freedom Medal, standing next to Rosa Parks and Muhammad Ali is the real racist. That guy right there, that Donald Trump, that's, yeah, yeah, pick that guy right out of the lineup. I knew it. I damn knew it. You don't even have to show me pictures. I know who the real racist is. It's Donald Trump. Right there. It cannot be Ralph Northam, who in 1984, 25 years old, poses as either a hoodie or blackface. Long before there was Facebook, there was blackface. Just want to let you all know that. And so tonight, he's clinging to the role of being governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia. It's not a state, it's Commonwealth. And one day we'll have a show where we'll talk about what's the difference between the two. But in the Commonwealth of Virginia, Democrats, especially Democrats, who are like, oh, Lordy, Charlottesville, you're going to ruin it for all of us. So we've been using Charlottesville to raise money. We've been using Charlottesville to persecute Republicans. And you're going to come out in blackface. Didn't we tell you to hide it? And it seems okay for white, and also for blacks. 90% of blacks vote Democrat. So what blacks want to do is tell you that the mirror image is true. That's what they want to do. They want to tell you that the real threat to their blackness is not someone who actually supports dressing in blackface or being the hoodie one, or being blackface so he can be Michael Jackson. Which basically, now I'm concerned because why do you want to be a pedophile? What? And get me straight on this, all right? 40-year-old man comes, knocks on your door, and tells you, knock on the door, Tito. Oh, that's a little too hard, Tito. Oh, good morning. I'm Michael Jackson, and I want to pick up your little 8-year-old boy and take him to a slumber party at Neverland. Really? Really? What's the mentality of the adult who says, oh yeah, shucks, take him away. I got 2 more in the back if you want them. So this guy says, I want to be in blackface like the pedophile Michael Jackson. And forgive me, not legally a pedophile because he was never prosecuted. Kind of like R. Kelly is not a cultist because he's never been prosecuted. So we got innocent before guilty. It's amazing how the same white, liberal, progressive, Marxist, socialist, communist cling to the legal system when it's their guy. Yeah, it looks that way. It looks like he's racist, okay? But you gotta forgive him because that was many years ago. Yeah, Donald Trump was at the same age basically being a freedom leader, but come on! We all make mistakes. Yeah, so there you go. But you think I'm crazed here. You think I'm for the Lord and whiteface. Okay. Yeah, right. Is that not racist? So, I mean, but I want to do this real quick for you because a lot of you all are real hooked up on liberals and that no liberal progressive definitely would not do it. I want to introduce you to a young lady named Karen Elaine Johnson. She's better known as Whoopi Goldberg, and she used to date this guy named Danson. Okay, remember Cheers? Ted Danson? Yeah. Well, Ted Danson did a racist review of her, and look at her. Okay, now they dated one another. They were dating with each other. She's cool with the blackface thing. She's cool with it. But the audience was, oh my God, Whoopi? No, I know you have a Jewish name, but you're still black. You're still black. You're not supposed to be. This is not Whoopi. No, you're not supposed to be laughing. This is denigration against you. So she was cool with that. So you would think this was the 1990s, right? This is the 1990s and 1980s. Forgive me. This is the 90s. This is the Reagan era. People make mistakes. You know, they, gosh darn, wouldn't do this again. This is the article. Okay, and a lot of people say, Kim, why are you so stuck on this racism thing tonight? Because if media forced him out of office, how long? How long do you think it would take? It reminds me of the movie Scrooge, and he was looking out the window. Done. 5 seconds. We got him out in 5 seconds. How long do you think it would take for him? Now, this is Roger Ebert, forgive me. When he was alive, this posthumously, I'm going to read this. This is what happened. Whoopi Goldberg turned into, Friday, that tradition may have ended as a roast for Whoopi Goldberg turned into such a tasteless display that some audience members hid their faces in their hands and others left. They cringed in disbelief during the opening monologue by actor Ted Danson, Whoopi's lover, who appeared in blackface and used the word nigger more than a dozen times, was groaning, and Danson faltered as he tried to plow through his written material. Now, I know you all love yourselves of Whoopi Goldberg on The View. Okay, and you're telling me that Whoopi, it's no doggone way, ladies and gentlemen, that Whoopi would have allowed this kind of stuff. But let me tell you, Whoopi did. And some of you all are thinking tonight, well, Ken, Whoopi's the only one. Okay? Really? And it can't happen again. Recently. Okay, that's who was in blackface. So I dare ask you, ladies and gentlemen, in all sincerity, when it comes to the whole gamut of segregation and Jim Crow, are you aware, first and foremost, that it wasn't Donald Trump wearing a hoodie or in blackface? And are you also aware, ladies and gentlemen, that Jim Crow was a Democrat thing, and it was the Democrats that enslaved black people and fought for the Confederacy? Bet you didn't know that.
In 1863, President Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation, which ended slavery in the United States. The end of the Civil War in 1865 further reinforced the abolition of slavery. The 13th and 14th Amendments to the United States Constitution, signed in 1865 and 1868, guarantee equal rights for all American citizens, regardless of their skin color. But even though the laws were clear, that didn't change everyone's opinion of slavery and African Americans. Many white Southerners had been taught from infancy that black Americans were not as smart or important as white Americans. In 1866, a few white Southerners dressed in white sheets and pretended to be the ghosts of dead Confederate soldiers. They broke up a meeting of freed blacks. But what started out as a joke turned into a terrorist organization called the Ku Klux Klan. The Klan became violent and went about intimidating, whipping, and killing blacks and white supporters of black equality. The Ku Klux Klan became popular with those who felt the white race was superior. They and other secret groups have reportedly killed 20,000 men, women, and children. In the southern states, African Americans were segregated, meaning they were separated because of race. Even though the 13th and 14th Amendments were clear on civil rights, the southern states got around the constitutional laws by passing the Jim Crow laws. These laws and customs stated that it was constitutional to give blacks separate but equal treatment. The problem was the equal part was seldom identical to the whites' privileges and advantages. The Jim Crow laws specified that African Americans were only allowed to sit in the back of buses and had to ride in colored-only train cars. Blacks were not allowed to eat in all the same restaurants as whites. Blacks had to use separate bathrooms, drinking fountains, beaches, and park benches. White and black children could not attend the same schools, and compared to white schools, black schools were underfunded. This went on for many years, but eventually African Americans came forward and protested the separation of races. In 1892, an African American man named Homer Adolph Plessy refused to sit in the colored-only train car. In 1955, a black woman named Rosa Parks refused to give up her seat on a bus to a white passenger. Both of these people were arrested for their actions, but they planted a seed of courage in many others. African Americans staged sit-ins and would sit at white-only lunch counters even if they were asked to leave. In the 1960s, dedicated black and white Americans began publicly fighting legal and moral battles for civil rights. Men like Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Attorney General Robert Kennedy, and Thurgood Marshall were tireless in their fight for civil rights. In August of 1963, over 200,000 supporters of civil rights, both black and white, marched on Washington, D.C. and gathered at the National Mall in front of the Lincoln Memorial. There they listened to uplifting speeches that supported and encouraged civil rights. In 1964, United States President Lyndon Johnson signed the Civil Rights Act. In this landmark law, discrimination based on race, color, religion, sex, or national origin was outlawed. Putting this law into action was not always easy and at times had to be enforced with the help of police and military. It was 101 years from the signing of the Emancipation Proclamation by President Lincoln to the signing of the Civil Rights Act by President Johnson. If you consider the United States is just a little over 200 years old, you begin to realize a good portion of our country's history was spent waiting for African Americans to be legally treated equally.
Yeah, it ain't the Republicans you need to worry about. It ain't even Donald Trump, baby. It's that Democrat Party that you keep voting for. We'll be right back.